Hello there. Back for another video. Had another Tuesday night steal last night and had an absolute blast. Really good time. I love the group of guys that I shoot with. Just a really good crew of people, and I enjoy shooting with them. It was a good time. I was able to come away with the win. This is my first win at the master level, which was kind of cool. I honestly, I got lucky because not very many people were shooting at that level in PCC last night, and so I walked away with a win that I think on a normal Tuesday night I would not have gotten. I had one stage that you'll see I was a little bit slow on, and you'll the nice thing is to get a win at that level and still see massive room for improvement. I'm optimistic and excited about the opportunity that I have to grow. What I'm going to do today, I'll go to a little more detail and walk you through kind of prepping for the event and walking through the stages and things. I'll put up the instructions for each stage so you can pause it and have a look and kind of dive in a little bit at what that looks like and I'll explain them as I go and then show you the footage from there. Yeah, it was a good match, good time. So let's jump right in. Um, this first stage um, was was one of the more complex stages of the night. Probably easily the most complex stage of the night. You can see here, you start in box A. The boxes kind of go in a funny semicircle. In box A, you shoot array A, and then you step into B, and you have to shoot the popper that's on the left of it, and three of the plates off the rack, and then it's symmetrical the whole way. But pause it here, have a look, and we'll jump into the video here in just a second as it kind of starts up. But fun stage, a lot
All
going
right,
on,
now I
a lot
am.
of movement.
Are you ready? Stand by.
You'll see when I move from box A to B, I hesitate. I almost shot it from right there.
Load in.
So after that very first hesitation out of that first box, it was in my head a little bit, and I just wasn't as fast through that stage. This one's a little bit more straightforward, but it looks very different on paper than it looks once you're there in person. Boxes are a little closer together than the impression here, and the way that those boxes are staggered, or the targets are staggered, looks a little different. So when you see it pop up on the POV here in a minute, you're gonna be like, "What is that?" But from the back two boxes, it's exactly the same. It's just the the back
Thank
panels,
you. Are you ready?
and
Stand
then
by.
symmetrical across the way.
Nice. Sounds like a freaking drag race right there, baby. Yep. And go.
I caught myself
And
closing my left eye a couple times during this match, which is it slows down your transitions. I found myself following the dot as opposed to looking at the target and letting the dot go to where my eye is. So again, it's just practice and getting out of my old habits from hunting. This one again, a pretty straightforward stage. And this one went pretty well for me. This was, I think, one of my better stages of the night. The next one's better, but pause it here and have a look what the instructions are.
shooter, are you ready? Stand by. If you are finished that move, show clear.
Stepping into that middle box, you can see I had to turn across my body and go backwards a little bit. I
Range is
should have stepped into that box and started on the far right. I'd have been quicker that way. It took me a little while to get on target. Again, this one looks really complex. I had thought I would go A, B, C, D on the boxes there, and after finishing that C, I would go far left. But it just felt more natural to go ahead and go all the way forward and get E right after C, and then I moved from way over to my left to D, and then all the way across to F, and that just felt like a more natural flow and less interrupting my
All right.
shots. That's what I did. You can see the boxes when I look at the ground like that. You can see the boxes we have to be standing in when you shoot. If you have a foot out of that box, it counts as a miss.
Shooter, are you ready?
Hold on one second. Let me just confirm. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay.
Shooter, are you ready? Stand by. If you are finished, unload. Oh, so quick.
There we go.
Down.
Now I ran this one more time
All right.
as just a, for fun with my handgun. This is my my Smith& Wesson M&P Metal HD. Reload.
Nice run. Not bad. All right. And holster.
It's a newer handgun, so I wanted to get a feel for
Okay.
what that was going to be like, and it ran pretty well. And with that, I would have I went through and looked at the kind of the rankings with the 26 and change on that time. I would have won every level up to I think A on that stage. That doesn't mean I would have performed that well on the rest of the stages, but not a bad showing for having not shot a handgun in competition for a little while other than two gun. And I want to get better. I think this is going to be my two gun for now, my two gun handgun. I really like it. It's a super soft shooting handgun. It's something I'm really enjoying. So, um, in fact, I'll pause. I'll show you that gun real quick as part of this. So and I'll show you clear. This is my M&P HD. It's the Series 5. And it is, man, I am really impressed with this gun. It The striker fired is kind of what I've shot my whole life. I've been a Glock guy. So this is my first M&P. I go big or go home, right? So, but man, it's an impressive gun. This thing shoots flat. It's very accurate, and the trigger pull on it is, I mean, it is a really, it's probably tough to see, but it's a really nice trigger. Yeah, clean break, reset, little wall, break. So, really good trigger on it. Obviously a beautiful gun. I mean, the design on this thing is just fantastic. Really beautiful gun. Um, I've I think it's really cool looking. Really aggressive slide cuts there. The compensator, it makes it shoot super flat. So anyway, this will be my two gun firearm for now. Um, and I'm working on I've got a CZ Shadow 2 that is an amazing firearm. But I'm faster with this right now because I have been striker fired my whole life. And so messing with the safety and the double action, single action, and all that's a little bit more of an adjustment for me. I think that gun will end up being faster than this one. And I've got it custom fit to my hand. I've got that gun tricked out. I just need some more practice with it. And in the meantime, this will be my two gun. So I'll start training with this a whole lot. Yesterday was what you just saw was the second time I'd really ever shot the gun. And so it obviously you can see it performs pretty well, and I enjoyed it. So that's the gun I'm shooting from there. So what's happening moving forward? So I've got a work trip this coming week, so I won't have a competition this next week. The week following, I believe I'll have Tuesday night steel, and then we should have a two gun match that week as well. And then I've got a buddy that I've been shooting with a lot that he's been doing a whole lot of USPSA matches here locally, and so I'll start stepping in and subbing in some of those Tuesday night steels. I'll go run the USPSA matches that are around as well, or instead. But I'm learning a lot, and I think a lot of it is just trying to get out of your own way. Um, there were some comments on my last video, and I installed a trigger on a Glock 45, and there was some discussion around trigger discipline and um, whether you should carry a light trigger or not. And I will say the one thing when you're going into competition, that is the one thing that everyone keeps an eye on, and it's something you need to practice prior to your first competition is making sure that any time you are not firing, your finger is not just out of the trigger guard like this. I mean, clearly out. And so it's something, if you're looking at getting into competition, start practicing that. Make sure that anytime you are not actively aiming and firing the gun, your finger is up here. If you're moving, if you're firing here, and then the moment you go to move, that finger should automatically and naturally come up to where it's clearly out of that trigger guard. Because you can very easily get disqualified for it. Now, most ROs when you're new, they're gonna start they'll shout at you. They'll say finger, and it's a reminder. But if you're looking at getting into competition, if there's one thing you can do to prepare, it's absolutely work on and be make it so that your trigger finger discipline is subconscious. It should be second nature, it should be automatic, so that while you're thinking about moving or whether I should shoot from this box or where am I going to reload and all those things are processing in your brain, you're not also having to add in, oh, and remember to pull your finger out of the trigger guard when you move. That should just, your body should just, your brain will automatically have that happen so that you can be focused on other things. Um, and it should be an instinctual thing. Your finger should be clinging outside of there somewhere. Have an index point and make sure that your finger naturally always goes to that spot. Um, it would be better to have to think to put your finger in the trigger guard than to have to remember to pull it out. So um, that's the one tip for new shooters for the week. Work on that trigger discipline, practice that. But in the meantime, go to practice score, sign up for your first match, find something local, and jump in. It's an absolute blast, and every shooter out there who wants to get better, you should step into competition shooting. You won't regret it. And so we'll see you out there on the range. Thanks for stopping by the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.